Hello, I'm Axel from AudioCodes, and welcome to the third episode in our series introducing the AI agents functionality in the LiveHub platform. In today's episode, we will talk about documents. As you already know, AI agents are based on the large language models and therefore know lots of facts about the world. For example, they know that Harry Potter's mother name was Lily, that octopuses have 3 hearts, and that avocados are technically berries, but strawberries aren't. But there's also a lot of things that they don't know. For example, they don't know anything about the product you've been secretly working on in the past few months, and they can't read that PDF you've created yesterday for your boss. That's why we need documents. We'll start with creating a sample agent from the Q&A agent Quickstart. Okay, as you can see, a new AI agent was created. Let's click Edit to see what's inside it. We see that the agent's prompt instructs it to assume the role of support assistant, answering questions about AudioCodes' Room Experience suite of products. They're all usual prompt parts: personality, role definition, style guidelines, security guardrails. Looks good. Now let's switch to the Documents tab. Okay, we see that the agent has access to some documents. Let's close this dialog and switch to the Documents page to see what those documents are. We are at the Documents page, and we can see that the Q&A agent Quickstart created a new document here. Let's click Edit to see what's inside it. Okay, so first of all, there is a description. It describes the information provided by this document. Make sure to always provide a good description for your documents. It will improve performance of your AI agent. Below that, we have a list of URLs from the official AudioCodes website, covering the different products in the Room Experience suite. You can enter up to 20 URLs, 1 per line, or enable web crawling by adjusting the max depth parameter. Keep in mind that web pages often include irrelevant content, headers, footers, menus, and so on. Therefore, in many cases, you'll get better results by uploading clean PDF, Word, or TXT files directly from your computer using the Upload File screen. Now let's talk about what happens to the uploaded documents. Often, documents are too long to be shown to the LLM in their entirety. Even if the context window is large enough, sending the whole doc is inefficient and expensive. You'd be burning through tokens for every query. To solve this, LiveHub uses an approach known as retrieval augmented generation. The idea is to break each uploaded document into smaller chunks, and then, when user asks some question, search for the most relevant chunks and send only those to the LLM. There's a lot more to this method, with important details and trade-offs, but for now, let's focus on the third line in the document configuration. There, as you see, we set some basic chunk properties. First, there is the chunk size in tokens. The default value is 512, and it suits most Western languages. Non-Latin languages may require larger chunks because of how embedding algorithms handle them. LiveHub implements clever techniques for splitting the documents into chunks. It tries to both preserve the document structure, as defined by headings, and to keep paragraphs complete. Therefore, the actual chunk size will never be the exact one that you configure, but will be somewhat close to it. If there is a need to split single paragraph into multiple chunks, overlap parameter is used to determine how many similar tokens will be present in both chunks. You would typically configure it to 1/8 of the chunk size. Finally, max chunks parameter defines maximum number of chunks that can be generated. Use it as a safeguard from some unexpected scenarios and for capping the total cost of document processing. Okay, enough with that. Let's look at the document card. The most important part on it is status. When you add a new document, the status is in progress. And after some time, when the parsing is over, it changes to ready, and you can see how many files and chunks the document was parsed into. There is also info icon that can be used to view the detailed information. You can see every URL or file that the document is comprised of, as well as the size and number of chunks. You can also download a specific file to inspect it. All files are auto-converted to Markdown format, and chunk boundaries are marked with scissors symbol. Okay, back to the AI agent screen. Let's click Edit on our Q&A agent and switch to the Documents tab. Here we can see which documents our agent has access to. It's not enough to just define some documents in the document screen. we must attach them to the AI agent here to make them available. Now let's talk about the configuration parameter at the top of the Documents tab. It defines how the attached documents are used. First, there is RAG for every query mode. This is a classic RAG mode, where for every user query, relevant document chunks are extracted and sent to the LLM together with the user utterance. Let's see this in action. Okay, so I open the chat screen. Let me type some question. For example, what products fit the small conference rooms? Okay, we've got the answer. That's cool. But let's see what happened behind the scenes. Let's click on that log line. Here it is. So in addition to what we asked, LLM received a bunch of relevant chunks from the documents, and then it was able to formulate the correct answer. That's clever. Okay, back to the agent screen. What other document modes do we have? There's also RAG via Doc Search Tool mode. See, the regular RAG mode has one important limitation. It always attaches the document chunks to every single user utterance, even if the user just says hello. This can confuse the LLM, especially if the conversation drifts into casual chit-chat instead of asking questions. It also makes the LLM less reliable at calling tools. Remember the tools from the previous episode? So yeah, when the document chunks keep showing up in every utterance, the poor LLM gets distracted. We feel for you. The RAG via Doc Search Tool mode fixes that. Instead of stuffing chunks into every user message, we let the LLM decide when it actually wants to search the documents. And how does it do that? By calling the Doc Search Tool. In the literature, this is often called Agentic RAG, and it is the mode that you should use if you want your AI agent to both use documents and call tools. There's also an advanced flavor of this mode. When it's selected, the LLM not only decides the timing of the search, but also which document to search in. Remember the description field for documents? That's why it's so important. Okay, let's see it in action. I'll switch to RAG via Doc Search Tool mode and open the chat window. First, let's be polite and say hello. See, the agent responds immediately without using any documents. Now let's ask some question. The same one as before will do. This time the LLM calls the search tool, finds relevant information in the documents, and then uses it to answer. Very nice. Okay, 2 more modes to go. Full content and prompt is super simple. It just dumps the whole document into the prompt. No chunks, no searches, just the complete content. Obviously, you won't use this if your documents are large, but for short ones, a few pages, it can be handy. Finally, there's full content via DocGet tool. This is the agentic version where the LLM decides when it wants to read a specific document. As the name suggests, it gets the full content, so again, keep it for shorter documents. There's also an advanced flavor of this mode. In it, the LLM first learns the document's table of contents and then reads just a specific section. The table of contents is built from your document headings, so make sure those are clear and well-named. And we're done for today. Hopefully, you now have a much clearer picture of how to use documents with your AI agents. If you have more questions, the online documentation has plenty more details. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.